สวัสดีค่ะ Hello you guys. Thank you so much for watching my videos as always. Today I got a request from Kun Ali from England to talk about Thai protocols. So in English, a lot of times when you want to express emotions, you would just use like tone of voice or intonation, right? But in Thai, just by looking at the text, you can know which emotion the speaker is having or like which tone of voice he has, okay? So let's take a look at these protocols, which are very unique in Thai language and is one of the things that I like the most about my own language. This is going to be one of the most difficult topics I'll ever have talked about in my videos, but I'm going to try my best. So let's talk about the first protocol that we use very often, and I'm sure that you have heard it. Okay, so that particle is the particle na. There are many occasions where you can use the particle na. The first occasion is when you already know some information and you happen to forget it, so you want to ask, for that information again one more time. Like in English you have like, what's her name again? You know her name before, you just happen to forget it. Okay, so you want to ask that information again one more time. So in that situation, in Thai we say na. Okay, for example, เขาชื่ออะไรนะ เขาชื่ออะไรนะ what's her name again? Or like when, for example, you talk to a Thai person and that Thai person talks so fast you couldn't catch what he just said, then you can ask him เมื่อกี้พูดว่าอะไรนะ เมื่อกี้พูดว่าอะไรนะ so that means what did you just say? Okay, and another occasion where we use the particle na is when we want to like let the person that we're talking to know some information. For example, อันนี้อร่อยนะ อันนี้อร่อยนะ so you're letting your friend or whoever you're talking to know that for example, this piece of cake is delicious. Okay, so you want to let someone know something, some piece of information, okay, and you want to call that person's attention and want to let him know and get this information. อร่อยนะ this is delicious, try it, for example. And we also use na like to emphasize what we say, like for example, เดี๋ยวมานะ เดี๋ยวมานะ so that means I'll be back. So you want to let that person know that you'll be back, okay? So like, yeah, you want to get that person's attention and let him know this, okay? So if you were to translate this into English, I think it's very near like okay in English. For example, เดี๋ยวมานะ I'll be back, okay? Or like ไปก่อนนะ so that means like I'm leaving, okay? Or ขอโทษนะ like I'm sorry, okay? Or อย่าลืมนะ don't forget, okay? Alright, so yeah, so you use na when you want to let someone know something and want to get that person's attention to receive this piece of information. And also we also use this particle na when we want to like beg that person for understanding or beg that person to do something. Okay, so it's just like please in English, but it's not that strong, so it has just a little bit of this sense of like begging. Okay, so for example, ไปด้วยกันนะ like hey, let's go together. Or like ซื้อให้หน่อยนะ can you buy this for me? Okay, and if you want to like really beg, you can like prolong the word na, so it'd be like ซื้อให้หน่อยนะ. So you're really begging this time, okay? It's like please buy for me. The prolonged version of na, which is na, is also used when you want to express like wonder, or like you're thinking if you should do this or you should do that, or how is it gonna be, like wondering. Okay, for example, ซื้อดีไหมนะ so like you're wondering like if you should buy it. ซื้อดีไหมนะ okay, or like you see this fancy restaurant but you're not sure if the food is delicious, so you might think to yourself, อร่อยไหมนะ is it delicious? Like you're wondering, okay? So the next particle I'm going to talk about is a lot of Thai learners get confused how to use na and sometimes instead of using they use na very often. For example, like you see this stuffed animal, like it's so cute. Instead of saying น่ารักนะ you should say น่ารักอะ you know, because like you're not giving any piece of information to anyone, you're just exclaiming, you know, to yourself. Yeah, so in this case Thai people would say instead of na. น่ารักนะ doesn't sound natural at all to Thai people's ears, okay? So we say น่ารักอะ and that's like, whoa, so cute. Okay, and a lot of times when Thai people use it's only, you know, to add emotion into it. It doesn't really have any meaning at all. Okay, like for example ไม่ใช่อะ instead of ไม่ใช่ it doesn't really mean anything more than just ไม่ใช่ you know, but it sounds more smooth and natural when we add at the end. Okay. And another example, like ขอโทษอะพี่ instead of like ขอโทษนะพี่ ขอโทษนะพี่ is like you're really asking for forgiveness, you know, like begging, remember? Like ขอโทษนะพี่ like I'm sorry, okay, like please forgive me, you know. But if you say like ขอโทษนะพี่ it's like I'm sorry bro. You know. Yeah, or another example, like ฉันไม่ชอบอันนี้อะ you know, instead of just ฉันไม่ชอบอันนี้. So, you know, ฉันไม่ชอบอันนี้อะ when you add at the end, it sounds more smooth and natural, okay? So, but the meaning is just the same, like I don't like this, okay? So like in that situation, you don't use na, because that would be like you really want the person you're talking to know this information. And sometimes we can also use like for to make a question, like for example จริงอะ you know, จริง means true, right? Or real, or yeah. So จริงอะ means like really? Then it becomes a question. It's pretty much like จริงเหรอ okay, but that's like way more colloquial. จริงอะ alright, so the next particle is na. So when you say na, is like you want to ask what that person thinks. Like does that person think the same? You know, the person that you're talking to, like does he think the same as you? Like asking for his opinion in a way. Okay, for example อันนี้สวยเนอะอันนี้สวยนะ so you're not just telling that person like what you think, okay, you're also asking what he thinks, like this is beautiful, don't you think? You know, like na, it's like what do you think? Or like น่ารักจังเลยนะ like this is so cute, don't you think? So the next particle that I'm going to talk about is แหละ so Thai people use แหละ when they want to emphasize like yeah, that's it, you know, or like yeah, this is it, not another thing, that's it, this is the one, okay? Like for example เธอแหละชอบโกหก okay, like for example your friend is accusing you, your friend is calling you a liar, but then you want to say like no, not me, you are the one that's a liar, okay? So in that situation, in that case, you would say เธอแหละ, okay? Or you can also say เธอนั่นแหละ, okay? นั่นแหละเธอนั่นแหละชอบโกหก, like that's you, not me, that's you who are the liar. Or you can also say something like อันนั้นแหละ, so that means like oh yeah, that one, that's it, you know, อันนั้นแหละ, and that means that, and that means that one, so อันนั้นแหละ, that's it, like you're kind of you're kind of like giving your opinion, like you think that's it, like for example ใช่แหละ like so it means like yeah, I think that's it ใช่แหละ or ถูกแหละ so it means like yeah, I think that's correct, or มีแหละ like for example if your friend asks you like would 7-Eleven have like chocolate drinks, then if you say มีแหละ it means like yeah, they should have, okay? Yeah, so it's pretty much like yeah, I think so. Or another example ประมาณนั้นแหละ ประมาณนั้นแหละ so ประมาณนั้น means like something like that, okay? So ประมาณนั้นแหละ it means like yeah, something like that. And another case where we use the word แหละ is like when we want to like say something and want to let that person know that information, but it's not as strong as na. Okay, like for example, you have a maid and she always prepares dinner for you, and if you say to her like พรุ่งนี้ฉันจะไปหัวหินนะ it means like, hey, know this, tomorrow I'm off to Hua Hin, so don't prepare any, food for me, alright? So you really want the maid to get this information, okay? But if you want to say like พรุ่งนี้ฉันจะไปหัวหินแหละ it's like just telling her like, hey, I'm going to Hua Hin tomorrow, that's it, okay? And a lot of times Thai people use แหละ when they want to like show off. Like for example, ฉันได้ A แหละ like, hey, I got an A, like on this subject. Okay, and the next particle I'm going to talk about is the particle เนี่ย This is one of the most popular ones. Thai people use เนี่ย very, very, very often. And a lot of Thai learners might get confused and misunderstand that we use เนี่ย to express like annoyance or, negative emotion. But that's not always the case, or although it might be true, okay, in some occasions. Like for example, when you're waiting for a bus and it never seems to come, then you might say like เมื่อไหร่จะมาเนี่ย like when is it gonna come, so sometimes you can also translate เนี่ย as like the heck, like what the heck, like อะไรเนี่ย what the heck is it? But that's not always the case. Actually, เนี่ย comes from the word นี่ in Thai, which means this. So a lot of times we only use เนี่ย to like emphasize what we say, and usually we use this particle เนี่ย the most often in questions. For example, อันไหนเนี่ย like which one is it, like just to add emotion. It's not necessarily translated into like the heck all the time. It doesn't really always express annoyance, okay? And if you say something like อร่อยไหมเนี่ย อร่อยไหมเนี่ย it's like I wonder if this is delicious, and that implies that you don't think that it is delicious, okay? Or like สวยไหมเนี่ย it's like, is this beautiful? So it implies that you don't think it is beautiful. And you can also use เนี่ย after a noun to emphasize it, like to make it a topic. For example, เธอเนี่ยน่ารักจริงๆเลย like, hey, you are so cute. So like you just want to emphasize like, hey, you are so cute, like just to emphasize the noun. And another occasion where we use เนี่ย is when we want to get the attention of the person that we're talking to. For example, เนี่ยฉันไม่รู้ว่าเขาจะมาหรือเปล่า like, hey, I don't know if he's gonna come, okay? So yeah, like to get the attention. So apart from these hard to explain particles, there are also polite particles which learners of all levels should know, because we use them all the time, okay? So Thai people, when they talk to people that they're not that close to, or people that they want to be polite with, or people that they meet for the first time, or basically any stranger, we always use, the polite particles to express politeness, okay? And there are not that many, so I'm gonna teach you right now. So for guys, we have just one word, kráp. For example, สวัสดีครับ okay, like, สวัสดี, hello, right? When you greet someone, yeah. So you want to be polite, you add kráp. And for questions, you also use kráp, always. So yeah, just add kráp in the end of every sentence. And for women, we have two words, ka and ka. So again, ka we use with statements like สวัสดีค่ะ like hello, okay, or good morning. It means everything. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You can use it all day. Okay, but the word ka, the high tone one, we use with just questions. For example, สบายดีไหมคะ how are you, right? Is a question. So you use ka, สบายดีไหมคะ not สบายดีไหมคะ right? And another time where we use the words ka, high tone, instead of ka, falling tone, is when it follows the particle na like for example นะคะอร่อยนะคะ like this is delicious and it's very polite, okay? And yeah, we don't sayนะคะ, that's weird, okay? So every time you want to use the particle na and you want to be polite, you add ka, okay? High tone, ka,นะคะ. Okay, and just one last thing, we also have the particles ja and ja, and the usage is just like ka and ka, okay? So ja, the high tone one, we use after the particle na ja, okay? For example, อร่อยนะจ๊ะ and also when it's a question like สบายดีไหมจ๊ะ okay? And for the word ja, falling tone, we use with statements, okay? Normal statements, okay? So now, what's the difference between ja and ka or kráp? Okay, so the difference is ka and kráp are polite particles, and ja is not really polite, but we use it with people that are younger, and a lot of times we use it with children, okay, when we want to sound soft and tender. So do not use it with people who are older. Thai people in the past might use the word ja and ja with like their parents, like แม่ ja, you know, but people in this generation, we don't really use ja and ja with people who are older than us. So some people that are older than you might get offended or they might not like it if you use ja and ja with them, okay? So I really hope that you like my video and you learned a lot from me. And please leave your comments or your suggestions or your questions in the comment section of my YouTube video, okay? And I'll sure reply you. And if you're interested in taking a private Thai lessons with me, then please contact me at my email address, which is lingua.gingzi@gmail.com. Thank you very much for watching my videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. สวัสดีค่ะ